was established in 2018 by coalition of conservation organizations falling in the private sector. And this alliance was established to protect and restore
Focus on Liberia.
the mangrove ecosystem.
My name is Jeremiah
worldwide.
Mamba.
So we have here as one of the 20 members of this particular global mangrove alliance, and they are helping to facilitate today's launching. We all know the importance of this very precious ecosystem to Liberia and to the world at large. Liberia signed up to this agreement in 2023 November. And since that time, the convention has had so many other countries signing up. Over 50 members have signed up to the Global Mangrove Alliance. We have chapters in so many countries, and we are glad that today we'll be launching Liberia's chapter. So with that being said, we have so many activities that will go into this program. We'll have welcoming and opening remarks from various stakeholders. The executive director of the EPA will give a remark. We'll have opening statement for all the other stakeholders that are concerned with this Global Mangrove Alliance. We'll also have overview of the GMA by Elizabeth Kamara. She is the EOP manager. The EPA will also come up with a presentation on wetland and conservation for the protection protection in Liberia. And Ms. Hawa Walker, she is the assistant manager for conservation. She will do that presentation. We also have the official launch at the executive director coming in for 11:35 to 11:45. We'll have presentation from FDA, which is one of the key stakeholders. And we'll have a session of question and answer. Then we'll go for the group photo and launch. After which we'll return at 2 o'clock today to have open session. And that open session will be led by Dr. George Kingsley. After the discussion, we'll have coffee break and we'll have announcements. So this is a very exhaustive agenda. We are expected to finish at 4:40. So on that note, I would like to begin by welcoming to the podium the Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Mangrove, for the opening remarks.
Wonderful. Thank you this morning for all you coming in, our friends, both national and international NGOs, folks from the EPA, the press. We have any government officials here. Once you are welcome to this launch of Global Mangrove Alliance chapter, the Liberian chapter. I think it's very important. I have a prepared statement, but I think I'll come back during the launch time, which I hope that we can be able to adjust the program to do that very early. We are quite involved with a lot going on right now, even at the EPA. What the Minister of Mine is calling over and over short talks. I'll just come in one time, but it's maybe I'm coming in like twice, and the other one is so far apart. So if we can make some adjustment, that would be great. But again, we'll be here and learn together. What a beautiful here. I can't be singing to the choir, except our viewers, the importance of mangroves in Liberia and to the global community. What a breeding ground for fish, supporting livelihoods of coastal communities. What a blocking storm surge in a way that we don't have the beaches washed away. What are taking in enormous amount of cargo as compared to a lot of plant species, might be one of the highest in terms of sequestering the carbon from the atmosphere. So then it is beholding on the Paris Agreement that these things happen. And we are happy that you can join us here today or to launch this. Going forward, we will be able to implement the mechanism. Once again, on behalf of the EPA, I would say you are welcome. And of course, FDA, Conservation International, all those that put effort to get this work, we will say you are welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Edie, for that very brief and inspiring remark. We will also entertain an opening statement on the Forestry Development Authority and a representative. Thank you.
Good morning to all. I'm kindly permitted to stay on the existing protocol to save all protocol affairs and sustain. I bring you greetings from the Managing Director of the Forestry Development Authority, Honorable Rudolph J. Mirad Sr. Honorable Mirad regrets that he is unable to attend this important event due to prior official commitments. However, recognizing the significance of the official launch of the Global Mangrove Alliance, Liberia chapter, he has entrusted me with the responsibility of representing the FDA today. He has asked me to convey his sincere gratitude and unwavering support for this vital initiative. The Forestry Development Authority recognizes the significance of Global Mangrove Alliance Liberia chapter and its mission to prevent the loss of mangrove ecosystem, raise awareness, and implement science-based mangrove restoration. As the government entity responsible for managing Liberia forests, including its mangrove, the FDA is pleased to support the launch of this chapter, which will advance the effort to protect these critical ecosystems. Liberia's mangrove are under grave threat from coastal road construction, infrastructure development, charcoal production, among other activities. The Forestry Development Authority faces the challenge of establishing protected areas within Liberia as mandated by the Forestry Reform Law of 2006, which requires 30% of the country's forest to be placed under protection. The marshal wetlands and other mangrove forests fall within the legal framework. The launch of the Global Mangrove Alliance Liberia Charter provides an invaluable opportunity to enhance Liberia's effort in conserving biodiversity and protecting critical ecosystems. The FDA is proud of all those who have worked to make the Global Mangrove Alliance Liberia chapter a reality. We look forward to collaborating closely with the chapter in the implementation of its initiatives. The FDA management extends thanks to the EPA and the Conservation International for organizing this unique program, and to all participants who are present today. Thank you.
Give a round of applause. Thank you, FDA, for that powerful statement. We'll quickly go on to the National Civil Service Council of Liberia.
Well, folks, this is Focus on Liberia, and we're coming to you from the Mamba Point Hotel here in Monrovia, where the Global Mangrove Alliance Liberia chapter.
Okay, good morning. Let me firstly stay on the existing protocol, but let's note that whether that protocol was not correct, I want to also stay on the existing protocol. Firstly, bringing greetings from the chairperson of the National Civil Society Council instead of National Civil Service. So it's called the National Civil Society Council of Liberia. Madam Loretta Pocan, she want to extend her gratitude for this particular launch. Firstly, in terms of the load of this program is very significant in this institution because we know some of the effect of mangroves on the environment, and we are witnesses to what has been happening in terms of the biodiversity and also some of those harmful things that are taking place in the environment. So we also want to look forward to working with this alliance, and also there's an institution called the National Climate Change Steering Committee. It's also part of the EPA. We look forward to see whether this alliance can also engage the National Climate Change Steering Committee. And also there are other different networks that the this alliance can also leverage on to see how we can all work together. Once again, I want to say thank you and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, as the leader said, there are so many things on the plate, and we are happy that we are moving so fast. So, we will entertain an overview of DMA. Ms. Elizabeth Lee Camara, UP Manager.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so it's been, I think people are not very active. Everybody here? Everybody in the room alert? Okay, that's good. So I'm happy to give an overview for the Global Mangrove Alliance because I'm sure some people have just heard this term for the first time. Usually we say GMA launch, and I'm going to give an overview to understand what it is all about, and it's all about building a community, not only in West Africa or in Africa, but across the world, on how we can collaboratively protect mangroves. Because one thing we know that mangroves is just not a wetland area where we always, drill dump-sized areas or so. It's where we can also be able to sequester carbon. So, okay, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, so the global setup of the Mangrove Alliance happens to happen from 5 big international organizations. We call them BINGOs. So, big international non-governmental organizations. So, the founding members have been Conservation International, the Nature Conservancy, Wetlands International, WWF, and IUCN. So the whole focus here is to have an alliance that exists all across for us to be able to protect mangroves, but having to have policies developed that actually protect mangroves. It's not all about having these meetings and deciding that yes, we're going to protect, but how can we actually implement change by developing policies that actually protect it? So we are supporting various regional programs across the world. However, the reason why we are here today is there's none that have been existing for West Africa, especially Liberia. Hence, this launch. Okay, can we have one of the technical time out? Yes, I know I'm having party at Bra. The day when you're having a party, I tell the generator can start misbehaving. That will happen here soon.
Or the PA system.
Yeah. Now it's our projector that's having the issue. Alright, so as you can see here, this shows current work areas. So far, the global mangrove coverage, we've been able to use satellite imagery to show that we have about 13.8 million hectares. However, that number states, that amount. But for Liberia, we were able to do the Liberia forest inventory, but mangroves were not captured. And we all know that mangroves are also forests. So one of the things that CI has been championing is to be able to lead the cause for doing the inventory for the Republic of Liberia, to know how much we have and how much we can be able to put in to actually conserve. So we've seen that about 50 countries have actually been working across the world to conserve mangroves. And so far we've been able to solicit efforts from 20,000 mangrove experts, and we've been able to implement about 10 regional programs. So which cuts across the Americas, Africa, as well as Oceania areas. So basically we see this map that depicts GMA chapters that have been existing. So we see here that there's no line for Liberia, and we want to adjust that. However, I'd like you to pay attention to the mangrove loss that we've been able to see, and also how much the CI is currently trying to focus the score to protect. We are leading this charge. However, we'd like to point out that the reason why all of the civil society organizations are invited here today is because we need collaborative efforts. So Conservation International works here in Liberia, but we do not work across all of the landscapes. In regards to the fact that I've mentioned we're planning to do the mangrove inventory, we cannot do it alone. So we have the Mesorado area, we have the Lepiso multiple use reserve, we have other areas of Cesar Sandpoint that we have FFI and other civil society organizations working in. So we need a joint effort. So the strategy is this. We want to collaborate not only with civil society organizations, we want to collaborate with academic institutions, government institutions, businesses, NGOs, and the community. We realize that in order for our conservation efforts to be people-centered and to have an effect, we need to include the stakeholders all across to be at the table. And how can we enable this? Is to be able to improve our policies that we have. The ones that we don't have, we actually have to draft and have it implemented in our various landscapes. How can we strengthen capacity? We recently put out a call for us to be able to train young professionals to be able to assist in the mangrove inventory. So there will be a 4-day training in collaboration with the University of Liberia to train young Liberians to be able to assist us in actually capturing how much we have across the country for mangroves. And then, how can we have innovative financing? One of the things that, through the mangrove breakthrough that was endorsed by Liberia last year, 2023, they were able to also pledge their support to the NDCs, the National Determined Contributions, and the MDSAPs. So how can we actually meet these targets? So in support, there has been $4 billion in that conference to unleash how we can be able to protect across all of the areas for mangroves. How can we mobilize our efforts? So businesses, alliance members, and the communities. We hope that our impact gets to expand the mangrove coverage by about 20% 2030. We know it's an ambitious goal, and Liberia right now is starting in 2024, but I think we are up to the task. Right, guys? We can make it? Okay. So basically, we're pushing for climate adaptation strategies. How can we mitigate climate issues in order to sustain biodiversity and provide food security and human well-being for everyone across? So these are our objectives. Focusing on all of these things across the nation, we need each of your efforts. So now we're back to the local agenda. How can Liberia contribute? How do we fit into this narrative of existing? How do we contribute to having this alliance being influential in protecting mangroves? So we're at step 1. We're launching the chapter today. So launching this chapter actually unveiled a sustainable financing option that we get to collaborate with each of the institutions here to implement. So the second part is how we can plan our conservation efforts. Tomorrow, we get to sit around the same round table and structure our efforts. How can we do this? What are some of the mechanisms that we can set in place to actually implement what we are signed to do? And lastly, is to implement local programs in all of our various landscapes that we're working in. So, this tells us that the charter gets to be built, but how can we expand our membership? We don't only want it to be limited to just NGOs or only university institutions that are here today. We don't only want to have strategies that are written on paper, but how can we actually have action plans? How can we actually implement knowledge building platforms that mobilize various working groups? Also, how can we put that word out there? This is a basic call to action. How can we have science give us this information? How can we put the policies into action to conserve mangrove forests? So we plan to develop and share knowledge building tools, especially for innovative financing, mobilizing our communities, best practices, lesson learned, mangrove mapping, which we are already embarking on to do, and then proof of concept. Next, we want to be able to leverage our regional initiatives. So one thing is our Global Mangrove Alliance chapter exists here. We can also go to probably Madagascar or somewhere in the Americas and have lessons learned and how we can come back to implement to see what is working. So this is our focus. So far, we've been able to look at the statistics and see that since 2000, Liberia has lost about 26% of its mangrove ecosystems due to urbanization, people cutting down for other uses, and this is a serious impact. And one of the key things that we're noting for the Global Mangrove Alliance, which are three, the first one is to halt mangrove loss. We've already seen how much damage has been caused. How can we halt this? How can we stop this? So when we're in some of these meetings, we can be able to push this agenda that mangroves need to be protected at all costs. So we've noticed that the carbon stock in mangrove ecosystem declined from 12 to 8.9 metric ton carbon since 2000 and 2021, which is an alarming rate. So for the second focus of the GMA is to restore half of the recent losses. You see here, this is an area photograph, I think in May, over our Monrovia side, I think around Airfield area, and this is how much the mangroves are being cut down. There are a lot of infrastructures that are being built, the swamps are being dried up for people to build. So Liberia has made pledges, and one of the pledges for the mangrove breakthrough has been that we will restore about 35% of our degraded mangroves by 2030. How are we doing that? Next is how can we ensure that our national policies, the plans that we put in, actually relate to the NDCs. And then our NDC's targets as well. So national wetland policies need to be actually updated by 2025, which is next year, but we are ambitious, as I said. And lastly is how can the mangroves national reservoir strategy be, updated or make sure that it actually represents what it is we want to do. So for our third, we also want that the Liberia marine policy gets created. We want to have the NDCs not only protect other or speak about other targets, but protecting mangroves essentially. And also Liberia needs to restore half by 2030. But the last one is very key, is that we have to work together. So the last of our key focus for the GMA is to double the protection. So one is to halt mangrove loss, two is to restore half, and the third is to double our efforts. So I feel like we're doing in our respective areas, we are protecting, but we need to add extra. So how can we do that? Through the mangrove breakthrough plan, we can also come up with a protected area management plan focusing on mangrove and coastal ecosystems. We can also draft a Liberian national marine policy that actually cuts across all of the various mangrove forests we have. And also, the regular strategy gets strengthened, and the national wetland policy is actually effective. So this is our take-home message. This is what each and every person here needs to do and implement. So we need to do knowledge sharing. Whatever it is you know, I don't know, we share it. Especially the fact that we know academic institutions are actually working with young minds to motivate them to actually come and work towards STEM courses, helping to collaborate and also answer some of the core issues that we don't know. So next is financing. We know most of the times we have the idea, we have the concept, but how can we fund our initiatives? And one of the things is the fact that this is not a work that can be done alone. So sustainable financing options have already been put in place, so we shouldn't worry about the financing, but we have to engage and mobilize so that we can be able to have conservation and restoration efforts across all of the areas that we have currently. An alternative livelihood. One of the things, working with the fishery community, we get to see that storage facilities for the fish or other organisms that are utilized within those areas are hard to be able to keep because they don't have storage, or they have to smoke the fish. And some of the times they have to cut down the mangroves to dry the fish in order for them to preserve it. So we need to find sustainable financing option, also for them to be able to use renewable energy sources to actually provide for the storage of the fish and to make sales. Lastly, we also need to build the capacity. People are not so much inclined to understanding the importance of mangroves. We need to get people out there aware and championing the cause to protect. Thank you. So because of time, we're going to have the lunch by the ED, and also we'll have questions after all of the presentations. Thank you.
Well, folks, this is Focus on Liberia, and it's the official launch of the GMA here at the Mamba Hotel. My name is Jeremiah Mamba. It's a global Mangrove Alliance Liberia chapter.
So now that I have spent